Greenland 2 migration begins in a world that survived the end, only to learn that surviving was never the same as living. The Garrity family made it through the comet's strike and reached safety under the ice of Greenland, but 5 years later that safety is gone. The bunker that once looked like the future is failing, the Earth is still unstable, and the people left alive are running out of time. What follows is not just another escape. It is a desperate march across a broken continent where every mile tests how much a family can lose before there is nothing left to save. The story opens 5 years after the Clark comet shattered the planet. Deep beneath Greenland, the last survivors of one protected community are still holding on. Allison Garrity has become one of the people helping keep order inside the bunker. She listens to complaints, settles disputes, and tries to stop fear from spreading through a population that has been trapped underground for years. John Garrity works outside the walls as a scout and engineer. He goes into the frozen wasteland to repair equipment, search routes, and bring back anything the community needs. Their son Nathan is older now, almost a young man, and he is tired of being treated like a child. He wants to work beside his father. John keeps pushing him back because he knows exactly how dangerous the outside world really is. Life in the bunker already feels fragile before disaster hits. Food is controlled, supplies are stretched thin, tension hangs in every room because people know the systems keeping them alive are aging. The world above is still haunted by strange storms, radiation pockets, and sudden shifts in the land. Even so, people endure because the bunker gives them one thing the surface does not: predictability. Then the ground starts moving. At first it feels like another tremor, the kind everyone has learned to fear. But this time it does not stop. Concrete cracks, pipes burst, lights fail, whole sections of the bunker begin to collapse in on themselves. Panic tears through the corridors, families rush for exits, workers try to keep order, and alarms echo through the dark. John realizes almost immediately that the structure is finished. This is not a repair job. This is the end of the only safe place they have left. The evacuation turns into a nightmare. People scramble toward emergency routes leading out to lifeboats and surface vehicles, but the collapse is faster than anyone expected. Allison and Nathan are nearly separated in the crush. John fights through falling debris to reach them. They make it out with only a small group of survivors and one doctor named Amina who has been helping care for the sick inside the bunker. Behind them, the bunker dies. The danger is not over when they reach the surface. The collapse has triggered a larger disaster. A massive wave surges in and smashes what remains of the facility. The place that saved thousands is erased in minutes. John, Allison, Nathan, Amina, and a handful of others escape by lifeboat into cold, open water, watching the last of Greenland disappear behind them. Their first destination is Liverpool. Rumors have been moving through survivor channels for months. Somewhere in southern Europe, near the giant crater left by the comet, conditions may actually be improving. There are stories of cleaner land, working farms, and military zones holding the line around a new center of human recovery. It sounds almost impossible, which is exactly why people want to believe it. The group reaches Liverpool, but England is no refuge. The city is a shell, buildings still stand, but order does not. The few survivors left there are desperate, armed, and suspicious of anyone new. When word spreads that another bunker may be operating nearby, crowds rush toward it and the situation turns violent almost instantly. Gunfire breaks out, people trample one another for a chance at shelter. In the chaos, the Greenland survivors are split apart. John is forced to pull Allison and Nathan away rather than get them trapped in a battle they cannot win. From there, the journey becomes a harsh overland migration through the ruins of the United Kingdom. They move through empty roads, wrecked towns, and fields that have gone back to wilderness. For brief moments, the film slows down and lets the family feel almost human again. They find a place in London where survivors have managed to create a small pocket of stability. It is not safe enough to stay, but it is enough to rest, eat, and gather information. There they hear the same rumor again. The crater region in the south of France may be the first place on Earth where the sky is clearing and the ground is becoming livable. It is a long way off, but it is the closest thing anyone has to hope. As they continue south, a darker truth starts to emerge. John is getting weaker. At first he hides it. He brushes off the coughing, the fatigue, the moments where he has to stop and catch his breath. But Amina sees what Allison does not want to face. Years of scouting through contaminated areas have exposed him to too much radiation. He is sick and it is getting worse. John knows it too. He simply refuses to say it out loud because once he admits it, the journey changes. It stops being about carrying his family forward and becomes a race against his own body. That secret adds a quiet weight to every scene between John and Nathan. Nathan wants to prove himself. He keeps asking to take more responsibility, to carry more, to scout ahead, to be treated like someone his father can rely on. John resists, sometimes too harshly, because he is terrified that if Nathan grows into his role now, it will be because John is about to leave it. Their arguments are not really about whether Nathan is ready. They are about the fact that John may not have enough time left to keep being the one in front. On the road to Dover, the dangers become more direct. Amina, who has been one of the calmest and most capable people in the group, is shot during an attack by bandits. Her death lands hard because it is quick, ugly, and without ceremony. There is no speech, no big final moment. 1 second she is helping hold the group together and the next she is gone. That is the kind of world this is now. People do not always get meaningful endings. Sometimes they just vanish in the middle of the road and the living have to keep walking. By the time the Garrities reach the coast, the old world feels truly gone. The English Channel is no longer the barrier it once was. Large stretches of it have been drained and transformed into a bleak, windswept passage of mud, rock, and wreckage. Crossing it feels less like traveling between countries and more like walking across the exposed scar of the planet itself. John, Allison, and Nathan move through ship graveyards and dead ground, every step taking them further from the life they once knew and closer to something none of them can picture. On the French side, they finally encounter kindness again. A family in Calais takes them in, feeds them, and offers shelter. The gesture matters because by this point the film has shown so much fear and selfishness that simple decency feels almost radical. The French family has a daughter named Camille. Like Nathan, she has grown up too fast in a broken world. Her family believes the safest future is near the crater, and when circumstances force them to stay behind, they ask the Garrities to take Camille with them. It is a huge act of trust. Allison agrees, knowing full well that promising safety in this world may be impossible. Now the journey changes shape once again. It is no longer just three people trying to survive. It becomes John and Allison carrying two young lives toward a place they have never seen, guided mostly by rumor. Nathan also begins to change in this stretch of the story. Camille is close to his age, and her presence gives him someone who understands what it means to come of age after the end of the world. Their conversations are quiet and simple, but they matter. They remind him that the future is not only something older people talk about. It belongs to him too if he can live long enough to reach it. As the group moves deeper into France, they start seeing signs that the rumors were true. There are military checkpoints, patrol routes, defensible lines, organized movement. Humanity is still fractured, but some structure has returned near the crater region because the land there is becoming too valuable to lose. At the same time, that makes it dangerous. Every survivor wants in. Every armed faction wants control. Near the front lines, the Garrities witness a full-scale conflict between defenders and desperate outsiders trying to force their way through. The military escorts them past the fighting, but even then the road is not safe. On the final leg of the journey, bandits ambush their transport. John steps in to defend the others and takes a gunshot wound in the process. He survives the attack, but now his body is carrying both radiation sickness and a fresh wound. Allison understands immediately that he is running on will alone. From there, the movie shifts into its most emotional stretch. John keeps moving because stopping would mean admitting the truth. Nathan starts taking on more responsibility without being asked. He helps lead, helps carry, helps protect Camille, and finally becomes the person he has been trying to prove he can be all along. Allison sees both of them changing at once. Her husband is fatting, and her son is stepping into the space he is leaving behind. It is exactly the future she wanted to avoid, but now it is the only one available. Then they reach the crater. The reveal is the payoff for everything the film has been building toward. Instead of another ruin, the impact zone is alive. The sky is clearer, lakes shine in the open. The soil is fertile. There are fields, signs of cultivation, and evidence that this place may actually support long-term life. After so much ash, ice, salt, metal, and death, the sight of green land feels almost unreal. For the first time since the comet hit, the future is not abstract, it is visible. What makes this ending work is that the film does not turn the crater into paradise. It turns it into possibility. The Garrity's have not arrived at a perfect world, they have reached a place where rebuilding might begin. That difference matters. The movie is not saying disaster is over. It is saying there is finally room to do something besides endure it. John sees it too, and that is enough. His strength fails within sight of the valley that may become his family new home. He has carried them across the wreckage of nations through violence, sickness, loss, and the slow collapse of his own body. Now, knowing Allison and Nathan have made it, he lets go. His death is quiet and devastating because it comes after the goal is reached. He does not die chasing hope, he dies having delivered his family to it. The final scenes are built around what that sacrifice means. Allison grieves, but she does not break. Nathan, who began the film wanting to be treated like a scout, now understands the real cost of that role. Camille stands beside them, part of the family they chose along the way. Around them, people are already working the land, building shelter, and trying to shape order out of survival. Greenland 2 migration ends on a note that is sad but not hopeless. The world was destroyed and the damage still reaches into every life left standing. But the Garrity family proves that survival is not only about outrunning death. It is about carrying love, duty, and memory far enough that something decent can begin again. John does not get to live in the world he helped find, but because of him, Allison and Nathan do. And after everything they cross to get there, that is enough to make the long road feel worth it.